I chose this stimulus as it had strong themes, such as time and consciousness, and vivid pictures of a rose garden, church, and arbour. I first decided to annotate the poem and create a structure for my composition. It seemed easiest to follow the structure of the poem, as this allowed the poem to be narrated or sung if I so chose later on. From my annotations, I found 4 key concepts I wanted to portray: time, the rose garden, rain beating, and the drafty church. These would be my key motifs. I drew inspiration from AQA's set pieces for contemporary music. Steve Reich's piece, Different Trains, gave me the idea of imitating speech inflections for the melody. I recorded multiple people reciting the poem and used extracts to represent different themes. These themes then converge at the end to represent the past and future colliding.
To be in time, to be in time.
But only in time, but only in time.
Moment in the rose garden, moment in the rose garden.
One of my favourite composers, Pierre Boulez, was the inspiration for my chord choice under these motifs. In his piece, Derivé 2, he creates a chord from his friend's name, using each letter as a different note. He then takes the intervals from the first chord and cyclically shifts them to create 5 new chords, all starting on the same note. I imitate this process in the intro to my composition. Boulez uses ornamentation to blur the crossover between each chord, creating melodic interest such that the lack of an actual melody goes unnoticed. I decided to focus on rhythmic development instead, hence also introducing the concept of time. This extract from 8 Songs for a Mad King is similar to the first attempt I made at creating a feeling of being out of time. Slowly, the parts become less and less in time with each other, as some lag behind and others push forward. However, when I experimented with this on the marimbas, the effect was much more difficult to create than expected, and not at all easy to write on Sibelius. This is a good example of why checking your compositions are playable is imperative. I then turned to Steve Reich's composition, Pulses, which illustrates how swelling dynamics are also effective in diluting a strict beat. I experimented with cross rhythms in conjunction with this to get the final result. I took the rain as an opportunity for a contrasting section, and to experiment with a different side of contemporary music. Arnold Schoenberg devised 12-tone serialism, in which he takes the 12 tones of the Western scale and uses them each only once in the first phrase of a melody, as seen in the right hand of this example. At the time, I was also studying Bach's violin concerto in A minor, and noticed that the development of a fugal texture using transposition, inversion and retrograde was similar. I decided to link the two together to create a fugal texture which contrasted to the homophony in the rest of my composition. For the drafty church, I knew I wanted to use the breathy sounds of the flute and clarinet to create the atmosphere. I researched a lot of extended techniques for flute by finding contemporary compositions for solo flute on YouTube. I realised that my marimba parts were very basic in comparison to the other instruments, as I had no experience playing or writing for them before. A really helpful website is the Vienna Symphonic Library, which has detailed profiles of almost every orchestral instrument. In particular, it has examples of the sound of instruments in different parts of their range, and detailed descriptions of what the instrument sounds like when playing with other instruments. There is also a page for extended techniques and specific notation. In summary, use AQA's examples as inspiration. Start by planning your structure and key motifs. This will help you justify everything else you put in your composition. Research what is stylistic to your chosen area of study, but don't be afraid to use your knowledge of other genres as inspiration. Make sure your parts are playable, but still written for advanced musicians. Use Vienna Symphonic Library or even have a go playing the instrument yourself in order to gain a better understanding of the limitations and specialities of that instrument. I hope my advice has helped slightly, and good luck and have fun.